Hello, and welcome to UB Tonight. I am your host, Henry John. We will get to some of the day's headlines, including Rat Bites Baby and Stefan Onsave's Facebook friendship, in just a bit. But first, our featured discussion of the week. Tonight we are going to talk about today's media and the rampant bad habit it has of pulling no-nos when it comes to giving information to the public. Let's start with something that every major news outlet has done for a long time, which is horse race journalism. This provides the public with polls on how every candidate is doing before the election. They don't cover the actual issues that the politicians are running on, because who cares about all that, right? Instead, we're only thought to care about the winners here in America. Losers be damned. Seriously though, I understand that horse race journalism will attract viewers, but at the end of the day, can't we agree that viewers need to be informed on the stances of each candidate? Then there are the journalists who simply don't do their full job. For example, take NBC. They ran this story recently.
An Arizona man has died after he took chloroquine phosphate because he believed that it would protect him from the coronavirus. You may recall the president has been talking about chloroquine in a tablet form, which is a malaria drug, which he believes could in fact help people who are struggling with the coronavirus. We talked to this man's wife, who is now also in the ICU, about how and why he took this particular chloroquine phosphate.
Did you see the president's press conference? Where did you hear about?
Yeah, we saw his press conference. It was on a lot, actually.
And then what? Did you seek out chloroquine?
I had it in the house because I used to have koi fish.
So this particular form of it that he took was used to kill parasites in fish, apparently. As you know, the FDA is looking at whether chloroquine could be used. It's a malaria drug, could be used to help people with coronavirus, but not in a raw form, certainly not in the form that you would use to kill fish parasites.
You'll be able to see that this actually isn't the full story.
Hates President Donald Trump, right? So at the very least, this was a fake story on that front. So you probably already know, and I am going to be looking down to make sure that I get this correctly. She was obviously a prolific Democrat donor. She donated to Hillary Clinton in 2016. We were able to confirm her identity and these reports. Okay, this has been released publicly. Something I haven't seen covered anywhere else, though I don't know that nowhere else has covered it. She specifically donated to nonprofits that were progressive sort of science nonprofits. Basically, if you read their mission statement, it was the agenda, the mission was to counteract the anti-science agenda, the anti-medicine agenda of the conservative right.
I thought it was to make
like chloroquine, chloroquine, clinical trials. So you know that. What you don't know, okay, and is exclusive here. The same woman, I think we have an overlay here, on social media called President Trump a psycho pres. Okay, she called him a psycho president, and she has a history of violent behavior. Okay, so this idea is, you're picturing her, the media has presented her as a pro-Trump middle American, right? She just trusted Trump, and her and her husband were drinking fish tank cleaner, holding each other like the couple in Titanic. When the truth is, she wanted to divorce her husband. Okay, so when she was discussing divorcing her husband in 2001, she attacked him, was arrested, was charged with domestic abuse assault, though eventually she was found not guilty. She still talked about wanting to divorce him in 2012 and said, quote, "I am furious all the time." She reiterated it in a 2013 court case. Now, the media knows this woman's name. So they went out and they didn't cover her name. They just covered the story. This lady, who was a President Trump supporter, drank fish tank cleaner because Donald Trump is praising an unverified, unproven, not antibiotic, what is it? I guess an antiviral? It's anti-malaria, so it'd be antiviral, right? He's been basically touting the benefits of this anti-coronavirus drug. The story was poor old lady and husband who love each other and love Trump die. The media, meaning New York Times, ABC, NBC, by the way, I'm going to be calling every single one of them after this show. So I want you to send in numbers, heads of news, people who you think would be in charge of these stories or who ran these stories, because they knew this woman's name. They claim they were withholding it due to, wanting to keep her anonymous. In which case, they knew that she wanted to divorce her husband. They knew that she hated President Donald Trump. And they knew that at least part of this was a sham, and that is journalistic malpractice. or ABC, NBC, CBS, all of these major news outlets, Washington Post, didn't know her name, in which case you did not verify or vet your anonymous source, which is journalistic malpractice.
Yep.
And you did this to try and alter the face of an election, by the way.
So these journalists heard a half-truth and thought, why not run with it? Because it makes a good headline, right? That is just like putting your kid in a gorilla exhibit at the zoo. R.I.P. Harambe. But seriously, in today's day and age, and with all our technology, how are you not able to do the proper amount of research? A simple Google search can tell you a lot about a person. So is this willful ignorance or not? Then you have journalists trying to twist certain stories for their own gain. I understand that you might not like someone. We all have that problem. But in this time especially, aren't you able to put that behind you in order to shed the light on a guy who was able to help our doctors and nurses? Here in this tweet from Jemele Hill, she clearly is not doing that. You are like that child who lost a kickball game and pouted for the rest of the day. Trump is the president of the U.S. Move on with your life. Hill ended up being suspended by ESPN for tweeting about Jerry Jones in 2017 and was later fired. How race-baiting Jemele Hill was able to find a job with The Athletic is beyond me. Now the media also screws up the fact that not every big story gets its due diligence. With the coronavirus running rampant throughout the world, that is all the news wants to cover. That moves the Australian fires and other stories to the back of the line. Coronavirus news coverage is now on every channel, but you can't even be certain of what's true and what's not true, due to the numbers and statistics changing every single day. Yet news outlets continue to cover it over other topics, even if what they're reporting isn't totally true. According to a recent survey from Pew Research Center, 80% of Americans said that they saw fake coronavirus news during the beginning of the pandemic. Hello? When you have companies doing their best to prevent people from trying to panic as much as they have been, and then the news is pumping in fake stuff like a California girl, what message does that send? Another example of false coronavirus information being spread had to do with the use of ibuprofen. After a fake WhatsApp post, went viral on different news outlets claiming that this would make the virus worse, the World Health Organization had to come out and make an official statement that these reports were not true. And I won't even get started on the hypocrisy and larger issues that have stemmed from this pandemic. Politicians are urging people to stay at home, wear masks when out in public, and practice social distancing. Well, let's just say that you'd be hard-pressed to find many politicians adhering to their own advice. Governor Andrew Cuomo's own wife contracted the coronavirus. Yet, there he is, flanked by other human beings, who should be socially distant, and wow! That is a terrific-looking unmasked face you have there, Governor. Please, I mean, why don't we all just rub some dirt on ourselves and call it good, like Bill Walton?
Brought you some dirt. And this is how you use this dirt.
No,
you
don't.
You do it like this, you get it, you sort of rub it on, get it, and then you just sort of, okay, now I'm ready to go.
It seems more natural than a mask to me. What do you say, Governor? Are you in? Something else that is actually quite tragic is that the media has chosen to cover individual-level tragedies related to the pandemic to tug on our heartstrings, rather than focusing on larger problems. Instead of focusing on John Doe, who lost his wife to the virus and is located in Sioux Falls, maybe some more light should be shed on the NYPD racial atrocities occurring in New York City, in the very differing ways they have decided to handle whites and African Americans getting out to enjoy some nice spring weather. Another media trend that has been rapidly picking up speed, no pun intended, is the race to report. That's right, news outlets everywhere have made it their due diligence to be the first to cross the finish line when it comes to reporting major events and breaking stories, even if that means they forget to tie their shoes before making the sprint. The list of examples that display this careless journalism and breaking news coverage is ever growing. One major example recently was NBC's breaking news report that NBA legend Kobe Bryant had been killed in a helicopter crash. Let's take a quick peek.
Retired Los Angeles Lakers basketball star Kobe Bryant has been killed in a helicopter crash. It happened this morning. The chopper reportedly went down just before 10 a.m. local time, according to the fire department out there in Calabasas, California. That's northwest of Los Angeles. You can see the picture there. It burst into flames on impact, starting a nearby brush fire. The 41-year-old Kobe Bryant was reportedly traveling with 4 others in that aircraft, in that helicopter. The LA County Fire Department saying all 5 people perished in the crash.
Hold on. Did she say Bryant and 4 others died? Sorry, NBC, but that report is as wrongful as saying 4 people didn't have an existence on the Earth. Not 4, but 9 people tragically perished in the helicopter crash. And the best part? NBC wasn't the only news outlet to let their credibility perish when first reporting on the story.
CNN is able to tell you now that NBA star Kobe Bryant was on board that helicopter and is now dead at the age of 41. Our Christine Brennan is with us now on the phone. So, there you go. All right, we're able to see you. Christine, tell us what you know and how this confirmation was made.
Fred, this is tragic and terrible news. And as people are hearing this news, now confirmed by CNN and other news organizations, it is hitting them as just one of the most unthinkable things you could have here.
So it's breaking news, all right. Except in this case, the so-called confirmation of 5 deaths was off the mark. I mean, I get it. With any horrific occurrence, such as the helicopter crash, it's fair to expect additional detail to emerge in the days and weeks following the event. But so many of these initial reports weren't even close. One source even read along the lines as though Kobe himself was piloting the helicopter. Really? News outlets have reached a point of complacency and don't really care whether the news they report is fully accurate or not. They will do anything to be the first with a story, even if that means being very wrong about very grave events such as this. How are we supposed to trust the news we digest when there are clear accuracy failures such as this? We here at UB Tonight are not asking a lot of the news media. Just to be equal and report the news without bias and get the facts right before you report stuff. The false reports and reporting from one side doesn't help. We can do better than this. We can be better for the American people. That'll do it for tonight's featured segment. More UB Tonight right after the break.